episode of Fried and True. Doing one of my favorites tonight, but something I haven't made in a very long time. But it's a classic Italian dish, kind of an Italian-American dish, but really good, really easy to make. It's great for a weeknight dinner, and we're going to start with a cocktail first before I get into all the ingredients, whatever. I'm also going to refresh everybody on how to take apart a chicken tonight, because I think that's a really good skill to have. If you missed it last time, we're going to do it again. I'm going to explain why it's important to be able to do that. But first, the cocktail. So the cocktail we're doing tonight is called The Godfather, and nobody really knows how this cocktail came about. There is a rumor that Marlon Brando popularized it during the filming of The Godfather. Apparently, he drank a lot of them. Whether that's true or not, nobody knows. But it makes sense because this drink wasn't really a thing until the 70s. And then for a while, it was a thing because amaretto was in everything. It was like the sun-dried tomato of alcohols. Like it was in every single drink. It was, which is maybe why I haven't made this in a while, because a little amaretto goes a long way. But it is a great cocktail. It's a great sipping cocktail, which is exactly what I'm going to do with it tonight. And let's get that on the go because we have a lot of ground to cover. Really, really simple. You build this in a pitcher, or jug, whatever you want to call it, over ice. We're going to do 2 ounces of scotch. And it's basically amaretto to taste. So I only put a half an ounce to 3/4. You can do it 1-to-1, which is way too sweet for me. But as always, this is something you're just going to have to try out for yourself. I would start, as a guideline, maybe 2 for 1. Do two parts scotch to 1 part amaretto and see how you like that. So we just give this a little... Oh, I should switch the... Here we go. There we go. And we give this a stir with the ice. First of all, as always, to chill the drink, which is really important. But also, the ice will melt slightly. Dilute the alcohol just a little bit. Take a little bit of the edge off. Just generally make it a more palatable drink. Okay. This one gets strained over ice in a old-fashioned glass or rocks glass. And that's pretty much it. Normally I would garnish this with a maraschino cherry because I garnish every drink I possibly can. But I'm out. So the next best thing is, whatchamacallit? This is an orange, obviously. And what I want is my... Damn. There we are. So just, a little bit of orange twist or whatever. If you want to be really fancy with it, I haven't done it yet on stream, but if you really want to get really fancy with your orange, if you cut it slightly thicker, you can actually, you can squeeze it and ignite the oils and kind of smoke the drink. I don't think it affects the flavor even a little, but it does look pretty cool. The oils do add flavor to the drink. I don't think smoking the oils adds any flavor. So let me wipe up, and we'll give this a little taste test here. Cheers, everybody. This is the Godfather. Very straightforward drink. And it's really, really good. Love it. I use Glenlivet for this one because it's what I happen to have on hand. But this is not a drink that needs a fantastic scotch. Glenlivet, this is 14, 12-year-old, 15, whatever. Probably overkill for this drink, but it's what I had, so we're going to go with it. Okay, let's talk about chicken Parmesan for a sec before we prep all the ingredients. And we've got to get the sauce going. People do horrible, especially restaurants. Okay, well, I agree then, Assbomb. I mean, that's what I have on hand. I never have anything other than that or Glenfiddich in the house. But I'm just saying, not everybody's going to spend $70 or $80 or $100 or more on a bottle of scotch. Especially for a Godfather. If you're drinking it neat or with a small piece of ice, I agree. Restaurants murder this dish. If you want to see what a travesty this dish has become, go to the Olive Garden or something, or Pickle Barrel, and order a chicken Parmesan or an East Side Mario's. it's horrendous what they do to this dish. It's just, you get overcooked chicken with a soggy coating swimming in a bath of tomato. It is just unreal what they do. So, but it's a great dish to make if you don't screw it up. Obviously chicken, and maybe actually I need to start the sauce first, because that needs to simmer. Let's do the sauce first. Okay, taking apart the chicken will be in a second. So one of my shortcuts for, switch back here, one of my shortcuts for weeknight dinners is, hang on, having a pot ready, first of all, which I don't. If you want to build flavor quickly, you can do it kind of in advance. So this is garlic confit. I always have this in the fridge. It keeps forever, and it's ridiculously easy to make. You go to the store and you buy, the peeled bag of garlic, and you put it in a pot and you cover it with olive oil, and you simmer it. You can put it in the oven if you want. You can bake it in the oven. Simmer it on the stovetop, whatever you want, couple hours, and then put it in the fridge. And you have this amazing instant depth of flavor for pretty much any kind of sauce you want to make. In our case, it's tomato sauce. Oops. What happened there? Ha. Out of gas. There we go. And it even comes with its own amazingly flavored olive oil, which I actually have to figure out how to get out in a kind of sanitary manner. This is not a strong garlic flavor, so you can use a fair bit of it. I'm going to use like probably, what I got in there? Doesn't seem like enough, does it? That's 6 cloves. I'm going to go for like 8 cloves. Put this aside. Now I do want the taste of fresh garlic too. I want that punch a little bit because it keeps the dish bright, especially with like really tomato dishes that rely solely on tomatoes. There's a couple of ways you can brighten them up. Otherwise, they can be a little one-dimensional. One way is with sugar, which I won't do. You look on an American website for this dish, and it'll be full of sugar because they put sugar in everything. But the other way, which is what I'm going to do here, is I'm just going to add some fresh garlic to this to sort of punch it out. Now these cloves, you can see they're super soft. They're just going to blend into the sauce as we go. And I want some fresh garlic. So yeah, just a little bit of fresh garlic there. That's probably 2 cloves worth, I guess, give or take. I forget. I think it's 2 reasonable sized cloves. And again, hot. For this dish, you just want to hit the garlic to hit until you get that big rush of garlic aroma, which we're almost at. I am going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes here, just to, not a lot. This isn't a spicy dish, but this gives it a little kick. We'll salt it at the end, because we just don't know how it's going to end up. And then now that that's going, we are going to just add, now these tomatoes here, these are San Marzano tomatoes. I highly recommend if you're using canned tomatoes. There's nothing wrong with canned tomatoes, by the way. Some of the best tomatoes I've used are all canned. But the San Marzano ones come from a particular region, San Marzano. They're just fantastic. They're full of flavor. They taste great. No reason not to use them. And they're cheap. If you have a Costco membership, you can buy 6 of those cans, come in a case, and it's like $14 for like just first-rate tomatoes all year round. You just can't go wrong. So I'm just going to break them up. And this sauce, we're not going to puree at the end. If I was doing spaghetti with meatballs, I might run this through the blender. Or you can stick an immersion blender in it if you have one. It's on my list. But I think for this one, these tomatoes will break down as it cooks. And we'll just have in about 20 minutes. So normally, if you didn't have the jump start with the... garlic confit, whatever, you'd want to let this simmer for probably closer to 30, 40 minutes. But because we have an advantage, we're just going to let it go for 35 minutes. Sorry, about 20 minutes. Actually, basically whenever we turn around and get back to it. So any questions on tomato sauce? By the way, that tomato sauce you can use for anything. That you can throw meatballs in that. You can just toss it over pasta, whatever you like. Okay, let's talk about chicken. I always use a whole chicken, and like this recipe calls for just the breasts. But I always buy a whole chicken. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. First of all, I like chicken. It's way cheaper. It is just way cheaper to buy a chicken. Like, when I was in the store today, when I bought this chicken, 2 chicken breasts, already cut off the chicken, shrink wrapped in the package, cost more than this whole chicken. I don't get it. Taking a chicken apart is super simple. We're going to do it again. There's 2 ways to do it. Sorry, there's 1 way to do it. You can take a chicken apart into 10 pieces or 8, depending on how many pieces you cut the breast into. We're going to do an 8-piece cut today. And again, you want a good sharp knife. Doesn't have to be one of these, but, you know, like, oh, come on, let go. There we go. You can leave these little wing tips. I take them off. They're not really edible. They're great dog treats, but other than that, they're really not much. That's 1 wing tip. Get in here. And once you get the hang of this, you know, once you do this a few dozen times, you get the hang of just where the joints are, and it just becomes super easy. Okay, take the wings off. Also, depending on presentation, it's sometimes fun to leave the wings on the breast, which is called a supreme cut. But not, in this case, I don't want that. And again, the leg here, you just like get in there, find your joint. Try and find it. There we are. And just take the leg off. Now the leg, I'm going to take both legs off first. I'll show you how to cut the legs. They're really easy. Where are we here? There we are. Come on, let go. That one doesn't want to let go. There we go. So having said, you can always find the joint. I just missed it, but that's okay for now. So we got our chicken quarters. Again, depending on the dish you're making, you could leave these whole. I'm going to take them apart because I'm probably going to make fried chicken with these. Buttermilk fried chicken a little bit later in the week. So I'm just going to split them here. If you look here, you can actually see that little white spot right there, where that little bit of fat is. That's where you want to go through to separate the thigh into the drum. And as you can see, it just goes right through. Now, we want to take the breasts off. And again, this is really easy. This is probably the easiest part. You got your breastbone. Just follow it down. You know, that easy. You will hit the wishbone at this end. Just kind of. Sometimes you can reverse your knife and get into it, but there you go. Now I'm going to leave these out because I have to prep these for tonight. I only need 1 for this dish because chicken parm is pretty rich. So we're just going to, again, follow the meat down the breastbone, get through the end there. It's funny, you can actually, you can't have a knife that's too sharp, but sometimes with fish and chicken, if your knife is so sharp that it'll go through, especially with fish, you got to be careful with fish. If your knife is so sharp, it just glides through the bone and you can't even tell, it can cause you problems. So you got your chicken carcass here, which I'm going to save. So typically I save these for stock. Another advantage to doing a whole chicken is you can save these carcasses. I put them in a bag in the freezer until I have like 3 or 4, and then I make stock with them. But in the meantime, I don't want this right now. Get it out of the way. Okay, so for the chicken parm though, we want the breast, and we don't want the skin on this guy. So I'm actually going to save the skin too. Chicken skin. So schmaltz, chicken fat, awesome thing to have around. You can make your own. You save up your skins, your chicken trim, and you just put in a pan, simmer with water for like, I don't know, a few hours until all the fat renders out, and you have an amazing cooking fat. So we want 2 cutlets, and for chicken parm, you want them about 1/2 inch thick. On the back side of each chicken breast is this little cutlet part. You don't want this for this dish because it's just a flap, and it's gonna fall apart in the oil and get in the way, and I will just do something with that later. Now we kind of want to split this guy in half like this. You do want to be a little bit careful doing this, depending on your knife skills, because I mean, you don't want to run the knife through your hand or anything. So just be careful. But typically just glides right through like that. Now these are already about the thickness I want. So yeah, I don't need to do much actually. Although, you know what I'm going to do? See this piece here? This is perfect, this side. This guy here, he's got a thin end, and it's just not going to cook right. So this guy's going to go into the fried chicken pile, and this guy's going to be one of our keepers. And I'm just going to do this breast as well and see if I get a better cut. Again, chicken skin we want to save. Flip it over. Take this little cutlet thing off. If you don't buy your own chicken, and you should, but if you don't have time, don't want to, that's fine. Chicken breasts in the store usually come without that cutlet already, like it's already taken off. So, let's, again, just be careful. And always, you know, I got my palm on here, but I know where the knife is. And this knife is sharp, so it just kind of glides through, but do be careful. There we go. And I got 2 perfect ones, but I'm going to use these guys for the dish. So we got 2 perfect little cutlets. These are already the right thickness. If they're a little thick, you can use one of these guys to pound them down a bit. I've seen people like you put parchment paper on or saran wrap and you give it a couple of whacks, but these are nearly perfect anyway. If they're not, a couple of smacks with your palm on the fat part. You don't need to get the hammer out for these. A couple of good smacks with your palms and you're good. So I'm going to leave those out and wash my hands because I was just using chicken. Handling chicken, I guess, not using it. Okay. Any questions on how to take apart a chicken? And I guess that guy's taking that chicken apart took 3 minutes, not even. And now I'm not doing it on stream, I can do it even faster. But don't rush. Don't rush with a knife. Take your time. There's no real rush. Okay, so those chicken cutlets are now ready for the rest of the dish. So give me a sec to figure out what I want to talk about next. So chicken parm is traditionally served. Let's go through the rest of the ingredients. This basil's for the sauce. This basil we're going to tear and garnish. So for the coating, we have a couple parts to the coating. I've got Parmesan cheese, and I have panko. Use panko, the Japanese breadcrumbs, for your chicken parm. They don't get soggy in fat, and they don't get soggy in moisture. So they will stay crisp much longer. This is some seasoning. In here I have a tiny little bit of oregano, a tiny little bit of garlic powder, some regular pepper, and a little bit of salt. And that's going to go. So that's going to be our breaded coating. And I'm looking at this thinking I have way too much. However, that's the way it goes. Actually, I can put this together now. That was probably really loud. So we got our parm. We have our panko. We've got our seasoning. Let's just give this like a good... Yeah, I'm just going to use my hands. I've been spraying stuff all over the kitchen all day. Having a clumsy day today. So there you go. This is going to be our coating. The Parmesan gives it a nice crisp, and it keeps it from getting soggy. So one of the things I want to talk about, this is going to get into one of our tips for the week, is the use of fat to protect the layers of your dish. So one of the things we're going to do, and you'll see we have our cheese mixture, which is going to go on top. So traditionally Parm has mozzarella on top, and there's some mozzarella in here. And it gets melted on top. And I have a little bit of fontina in here, which makes it a little creamier and a little easier to spread, because that layer of fat, that cheese layer of fat over the breadcrumbs, will protect it from the tomato sauce and keep it from getting soggy. This is one of the reasons people... this is why you butter your bread when you make a sandwich. This is why you butter the inside of your bread. I mean, butter tastes amazing. But one of the reasons you want to butter your bread on the inside of a sandwich a lot of the time is if you're making a sandwich with like fresh tomatoes or cucumbers, those have a lot of liquid in them. And if you don't put a layer of fat on the inside of your sandwich, your bread, by the time you get to it, even if you eat it almost right away, your bread's going to be soggy. Soggy bread is not an appealing texture, ever. Mayonnaise does the same thing. So if you're going to have mayo in your sandwich, put mayo on one side or on both sides if you don't want to use butter. But always protect the insides of your sandwiches or anything that you don't want to get soggy with a layer of fat. Okay. So, any questions? I'm going to take a sip before we go. I think we're missing the Kingston crew tonight. Okay. And traditionally, this is also served with a small, like a pasta on the side. I have some fresh capellini that I made the other night when I made a different dish. Yeah, Chad is a little quiet. I have a feeling it's a small crowd tonight. However, I do know that lots of people tune in the next day to watch, so this is for them too. So I have some homemade capellini that I made the other day, which I'm going to use with the tomato sauce. So the sauce that we're making, not only does it go on the chicken, it goes on the pasta as well. The other thing is, and you'll see when we serve this dish, don't do it what the Olive Garden does and slather a big goop of tomato sauce on the whole thing. Just a couple tablespoons, because what you're going to do is you're going to serve the sauce on the side and let people add it to their dish as they go and control the amount of sauce they have. So let's get this chicken prepped so that we can, let me get rid of this. I really need a shelf over there or something. Okay, how are we doing here? So our tomato sauce looks great. I'll just show you guys. You can see that the tomatoes are breaking down. Look at this lovely red color. You do not get this from Unico tomatoes. Okay, that's not quite ready. I'm going to turn the water up a bit. And we are going to do our cutlets. So, this is a new thing for me. I'm trying a little bit of shortcut here. Normally, I would be dredging these in flour, then in egg, then in our dry mix. But Cook's Illustrated says you can mix the flour and the egg and go straight into the thing. Is it going to work? I think it's going to work. It looks pretty good. And if it saves a step, right? Remember, this is supposed to be partly like a weeknight thing here. I don't want to get this coated though. Let's get in there. So get it nice and covered, but also you want the excess to come off. That looks good. Straight into our panko here. And you kind of want to give it a good little press. You want a generous coating here. I'm going to bring it up on the other side here. This isn't something you don't want to be shy with this coating. Looks great. Now you guys can see that, like both sides. There you go. That's one. Try and keep I never remember. I try. You want to keep a dry hand and a wet hand when you're breading ingredients. If you mix them up, It's not the end of the world, but you're going to want to rinse your hands in between. Okay. And we're going in and we're giving us a good press here. Flip it over. Use all this good stuff here. I'm being very generous with the coating here too, because I can't reuse this obviously because I just dipped raw chicken in it. Oh, there's our second one. It looks good. And these guys can just go off to the side for now. Wash my hands real quick. From a food safety point of view, it's really difficult to get salmonella. It was so I would use 1 large egg to 1 tablespoon of flour. I had medium eggs because they were on sale. I bought a big tray of them. So that was 2 eggs and like a tablespoon and a half of flour. But if you can picture in your head 1 large egg for a tablespoon of flour, that's kind of the ratio you want. So food safety is important. Salmonella is really hard to catch, but you still can. So just be mindful, with working with raw chicken. You don't have to go all Gordon Ramsay and tell people that you're going to kill someone. It's really hard to kill someone with salmonella. And it always makes me laugh when he does that on the UK Hell's Kitchen when they don't have salmonella in their chickens because they inoculated all their chickens years ago. Anyway, whatever. He does his thing. I do mine. Why do I have an extra bowl here? Don't know. Okay, so this is actually moving along pretty quick here. I'm going to check on our sauce again. Show you guys. And I think this is just going to be a delicious sauce. These tomatoes will break down. I'm kind of encouraging them a bit. If you let your sauce sit for 40 minutes, you won't have to do this. They'll just kind of fall apart on their own. But I'm just giving them a little bit of a head start on breaking down. This is actually the point now where we can season it. So we have our salt. And I'm going to get a spoon or 2. And then again, this is a food safety thing. When you're tasting your food, I mean, it's not important for me here because it's just eating banana sacks. Ooh, it's hot. But if you are making this for company and whatever, don't reuse your tasting spoons. So this tastes really good, but it's not one-dimensional. It has an incredible depth, but it lacks that brightness that salt's going to give it. So we're going to start with this is about half a teaspoon. Let's see where we get to. Put that one aside. Let's try this one down here. The difference is just incredible, guys. It's so important to learn to season your food properly, and it's so easy to learn. You can just sit there with any dish. And I've said this in past streams, if you want to practice this, if you want to practice how to season a dish, go to the store, get some no sodium chicken broth. You can use any kind of no sodium broth. It doesn't have to be chicken. Chicken works really well because everybody knows how chicken broth is supposed to taste. But get some no sodium, heat it up, taste it. It's going to taste like mud. Like no sodium broth is not nice tasting. And then just add, and also for however many people you cook for. Actual cooking question. There's really only 2 kinds of basil you can buy. If it looks like this, it's just regular basil. If it's slightly purple, it's Thai basil. And neither's wrong. I think this is the only really kind you can buy. If you buy it in the clamshell in the supermarket, you're going to get like little tiny leaves like this. That's not bad, but not the greatest. If you go to Carload on Queen, they have fresh basil in big bags at the front. You can buy a huge bunch of it. It's really good. So you may just... no, that doesn't sound like basil. Yes, it is. Does it taste like... Really? That's a licorice to you guys? Okay. I mean, I can see it. I can see it. We're Where was I talking? What was I talking about? We were talking about salt and seasoning. And so you start, it's important because the quantity of stock you want to use is whatever you would serve to the number of people you're serving. So if I was going to do this, I would get like 2 cups of stock because that's sort of 2 portions. And I would salt it until it tastes right. And just salt it a little bit at a time and you'll know when you oversalt it. But you'll develop a sense for the flavor. Your chicken stock or whatever stock you're using will taste more and more like what it's supposed to be. And go ahead and oversalt it because broth's cheap. Learn. Then it's going to taste too salty, and you'll know. Wow. So, tiny little pinch here. The garlic confit really makes a big difference in making a quick tomato sauce that tastes like it's been on the stove for a couple of hours. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, let me put that away for now. Get my pass up a little higher. And we need to... Are we really ready to just jump into the chicken? Yeah, I think we are. Get the broiler on. Okay, I gotta ramp up the water then. So this dish happens pretty quick towards the end. So the other thing I'm gonna do, so this is chopped basil from before. This is going in the sauce, so I'm gonna put it in now because the sauce is basically done. Again, don't put your basil in like too early. It'll really lose its brightness. And I need the burner. Okay, got our burner here. I think I can get 2 in this pan? Hell no. Okay, not that pan. You missed that, guys. Nope, there it is. Alright, I thought I would be able to get away with the smaller pan, but I can't. So we're going to use the big guy. See, Smooshy knows what she's talking about. I had no idea about any of that. So again, we want to open this. So at certain restaurants, they'll just drop these cutlets in the deep fryer, which is not right, but it's fast and efficient. And don't get me wrong, I love deep fried chicken, but this is not the place for it. So don't worry. We talked about oil before, and some people are gonna be horrified at the amount of oil I just poured into this dish. But remember, you can drain the oil. This is just a cooking medium. This is not an ingredient. So don't worry too much about that. And now we do have a sec while this heats up. If you need to check your oil temperature, you can do so with a thermometer here. Should heat up pretty quick. What you don't want to do, especially with fries, so if you're deep frying, if you're doing fries or any kind of food, one of the reasons the oil does not get into the food is because the water in the food boils and expels out as steam, and that expelling steam keeps the oil from getting into the food. If your oil temperature drops below like 225 degrees Fahrenheit, then the oil will get into the food. This is why when you're doing fries, even if you do a handful of fries, you still want a giant vat. Deep fryers are big and they hold a lot of oil for a reason. It's not because it's not because the oil companies want to encourage the use of oil. It's to keep the oil temperature up when you put the food in. So, I see a lot of people like, my fries are always soggy. I don't get it. And then I watch as they put like a pound of fries into, 2 cups of boiling oil. That's not going to work. It's like pasta in water. You don't want your pasta water to come off the boil when you put the pasta in, and you don't want your oil temperature to drop too far. And we're still not quite there yet. Almost though. And I don't have plates in the oven tonight. I should do that. One of the reasons I don't have plates in the oven right now, which I just did though, is because I've got the broiler on high to finish these off. So somebody remind me those plates are going to be ripping hot when they come out of the thing. And we're still not there yet. So this oil here, I don't know if you guys can see the thermometer, still only like 230 degrees. So if I put these cutlets in now, that oil temperature is going to plummet. And the oil is going to get into the food. So I'm going to crank this up a little bit. I'm really sold on this Godfather. It's a nice drink. Okay. This is taking its sweet time tonight, I gotta say. Nope, we're just gonna have to wait. Got this up pretty high. So this will cook really quick. These cutlets you want to cook till they're sort of golden brown, which is usually about 90 seconds per side. But remember, these are really thin, so they'll cook very quickly. Don't overcook them. Chicken breasts get tough, and I know people are freaking out about undercooked chicken, but trust me, you can't undercook these chicken breasts. Okay, now we're where I want to be. Let's get these guys in. And I don't want the oil too hot because I don't want the panko to burn before the chicken cooks, right? I'm actually going to set a timer here for 99 seconds. I can tell right away the oil was it's hot enough. I would have preferred this to be a little bit hotter. And just for curiosity's sake. Okay, so we're still okay, but look, this oil dropped from 300 and change all the way down to 270. So I was pushing the line there at 250. But as I said, you don't want it, if it's too hot, the panko burns before the chicken cooks. Gotta make this a few times to figure it out. Can you guys, is this under the camera okay? You guys can see? There we go. Any other questions about this as we go? Under here. Yeah, not quite. By the way, you can bread these. You can do all the prep up until when they go in the oil earlier in the day if you want. That's the beauty of panko. They won't get soggy, so you could like dredge these and flour them. Put them back in the fridge till you're ready to cook, and then just drop them into the oil. Okay, these aren't ready yet. I'm going to give them another 30 seconds. Almost. They look great. They smell really good. Not quite enough. Now the oil's getting hot. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but oh wow. Awesome. Well, once again, this guy's empty. Not much luck with the gas tonight, eh? Come on. Okay. That one doesn't want to go. I wonder, I really hope there isn't like some kind of safeguard that keeps you from, yeah, I know. Oh, you know why? It's on. I'm so dumb. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. I like it. I'm going to flip these guys. Oh, yeah, there we go. So there you go. Got a nice golden brown on both sides here. I have a feeling that's why the oil wasn't coming up as fast as it normally does. Because the gas is low. Yes. Yeah, and I don't have it up as high. I have a feeling I was just on low gas. I must say, I love this little burner. I use this more than just a stream. It's quite nice to just cook out on the counter and be able to control the heat better. I like this a lot better than the electric stove. It's maybe just a little high, like with it on the counter and then the pan on top. I feel like I'm not a tall guy, but still needs a little bit more. Oil spinning. So I think for these cutlets, they're going to be, I've had them cook as fast as 90 seconds. These are a solid 2 minutes each on each side. Not quite. Okay. So I'm going to let these go another 30 seconds and they're done. Man, can you guys even hear over the oil? So this guy's done. This guy is not yet. Okay. He's just gonna go. Okay, enough. Okay. Those are just gonna rest for a sec. Figure out what to do with this giant pan. Always be careful, obviously, with hot oil, but especially oil in an open pan like this, oil will burn you like you have never been burned before. And I know every once in a while I touch something that's hot here, but I'm super careful around hot oil. Okay, you want to do this? Getting down to it. So the next step is these got to go under the broiler. So I kind of want to like just lift these guys up for a sec. Ooh, that's hot. I don't want the paper towel. And now we get the cheese topping, and you really want to cover these guys up. Don't be shy with this cheese on top. This is your flavor. Well, obviously it's your flavor and another ingredient, but this is also your protection for that nice crispy crust. All right, you guys can see that okay? So this is gonna go, I used all the cheese, awesome. Under the broiler for as long as it takes to melt the cheese, so that's gonna go in right now. My plates, which are now unbelievably hot, remind me. And in the meantime, so this guy's cooking times for fresh. Oh, and I want to talk about salting the water. I haven't done that yet. There's two kinds of ways to salt water for pasta, and it depends on the pasta you're cooking. If you're cooking dry pasta, you don't need to salt the water as heavily as you do for fresh pasta. So even though this is dried out, I just made this yesterday. This pasta is going to cook in 2 minutes tops. And that means it's not in the water that long. So I will salt the water a lot more heavily for this pasta than I would if I was taking like spaghetti out of a package. Just so you know. And I really feel about 2 minutes is right for that pasta. Put this back on. Maybe even 1. Wow, it's just... Oh. Yeah, that's going to be done in 1 minute. That's crazy hot. So, any questions so far? I know we're kind of like, well, we're about on time. This is about regular time. Yeah, but on Sunday it was still fresh. It hadn't dried. Oh, you're saying, yeah, it looks like it's cooking really fast. I don't know. Like, this is only 30 seconds. Let's see where we're at here. Ooh, hot. Ooh, hot. No, that's still al dente. Okay. Let's not make that mistake again. Yeah, that's not done yet. So yeah, it's going to be 2 minutes. There, let's have a peek at our... And I think the chicken's going to be ready more or less at the same time. Things are looking good. Everything's coming at Millhouse. Right. Any questions while we wait to finish this guy off? That. Okay, so this is done. Everything can go off. Okay. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, so we're going to go with like a little twist of noodles here. It's good. Don't need that. And let's see where our chicken's at. It's perfect. Great. Let's just slide a spatula into this guy. Just like that. Ooh, come here. Just that. And let's sauce this. So as I said, for sauce, for the chicken parm, I just like to give it like a little dollop there. That's it. And a nice way to present this is to line them up all in a row on a platter. This is a great. I'll answer that in a question. This is a great great meal to serve family style with a big bowl of noodles all sauced up and a big platter of chicken parm. And you just run the sauce down in a nice line, and it's great. So I'm going to sauce the pasta on the side. And then for this, I'm just going to take, because I'm going to keep mine out here, but I'm going to serve banana socks. And this is what you would do at the table, is just have like a little sauce on the side. I still need a towel. So give me a sec, I will be right back, and we will taste this, see where we're at. Door. Okay, I am back. Let's put this front and center so we can have a look at it. Oh, yes. I was going to do this. I do like a little torn basil thrown on the whole thing. I'm going to have to go visit banana socks for one quick sec here. Give me one sec. I don't want a huge leaf. Just a couple pieces. There we go. Okay. I put the cheese went on before it went onto the broiler, yes. I got a fork here. I got a knife here. And I think I got a nice peanut in the fridge here. That's going to be good with this. Let's get that. This is a week Smoochie. This is a weeknight thing. This goes together, pretty fast. Okay, so let's dig in here. See where we're at. I got good crunch, which I love. In the end, a little hot. It's good. It's really good. So since I don't have sauce on the side and I know how much sauce I like, I'm just going to sauce mine. But, wow. See, this is why if people could taste this, they wouldn't order it in restaurants. Well, at least not the restaurants we talked about. And the other reason to use Fontina on this is it gives, again, with the fresh garlic in the sauce, Fontina gives it a little, a little brightness, a little extra. Mozzarella is great, but it's very subtle. It's really good. And stayed crunchy. Also really good. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but exactly what we talked about happened. The cheese, like, underneath this tomato is crunchy. Is a crunchy coating. It's great. And the bottom, of course, is crunchy. Okay. I'm going to get to the pasta in a sec. It's really good. So this recipe is actually not in my little blue book, but I think it might be going in on the strength of tonight. And these noodles, by the way, you don't want to heavily sauce these guys. This isn't spaghetti and meatballs, especially if you have good quality, like homemade noodles. Just, a light coating of tomato sauce is fine. It's perfectly cooked. So really thin pasta, fresh like this, is actually kind of tricky to cook. I got lucky here. To answer the al dente question, and it's al dente. So my my aunt, after the stream where we talked about bruschetta, we were talking the other thing she corrected me on, or she was not correcting me, but mentioned, is that Dante is the author of the Inferno, which is fantastic, if a little dated. Al dente is pasta that's perfectly cooked. And al dente pasta, and I'm pretty sure dente means like tooth. Don't quote me on that. Oh, yeah, I think Asmom is right. Your pasta should have like resistance in the middle. It doesn't need to be crunchy, like, or uncooked, but you don't want it like mushy. Like and especially it's harder to do with spaghetti, but like capellini like this can turn into mush, and then it's just like a mouthful of like smooshiness and not good. So these noodles have just a little tiny bit of resistance in the middle that makes them like it has a really good mouthfeel. So I don't know what you mean, Aswan, by soft pasta, but you're right. You don't want your pasta undercooked. Okay, guys. I'm sold on this one. And this is a weeknight dish. You can, so if you don't want to butcher a chicken, I get it. But you could literally stop by the supermarket on the way home, pick up one chicken breast, a box of spaghetti, and a can of tomatoes, and make this in 25 minutes. Maybe 30. That's it. And it tastes delicious. I think it's great. So, I want to tell you guys, really enjoying it. No. I mean, no. I don't know. I think not, because it would be really hard to get, like a cutlet-sized, consistent thickness piece of dark meat. Even if you unrolled a thigh, like boned out a thigh, it wouldn't be consistent enough. And also, there's no way dark meat would cook fast enough in the oil. By the time the dark meat cooked all the way through, your coating would be burned. I like dark meat for flavor. I love it for fried chicken. But I think this is one of the few places that, or one of the places that a chicken breast actually shines. I can't stop eating this. The fresh basil as a garnish, really important. This is a dish that's an interesting blend of really deep-seated flavors and bright ones. So tomatoes are bright and acidic, and the fresh garlic is bright and acidic, and the basil pops. But you also have the slow roasted garlic confit and the olive oil in the base of the tomato sauce. And the tomatoes have simmered for a while, so they've contributed their own flavor. It's a nice balance. I kind of think I got this one right. Really happy with this. Anyway, I'm here. This is all I have for tonight. We are in exactly an hour. I'll be around for a few minutes for questions. And I'm going to have a little bit of wine and finish my, I think it's done. Finish my Godfather. Highly recommend you try this, by the way. Especially if you're not a Scotch drinker and you are curious about sort of getting into Scotch. Scotch can be really intimidating, and depending on which one you start with, it can be not nice. This would be a good place to start. This is just Scotch and amaretto. That's it. 2 ounces of Scotch. For me, it's about half an ounce to 3/4 of an ounce of amaretto, but you can go all the way up to 1-to-1. Although I don't think I would. I think if I was going to start with this, 2 parts Scotch, 1 part amaretto. Very, very simple drink, but really tasty and a really good sipping drink. That's it. Whew. So I'm going to have a couple more bites of this. It's very filling. God, I almost made 2 chicken breasts. I'm glad I didn't. Oh, the hurricane was, it was light rum and dark rum and pomegranate juice and a little bit of lemon juice and, passion fruit, right. The pomegranate and grenadine. So I made my own grenadine for that. Well, you can go back and rewatch it. It's the first minute. Yeah, the hurricane was really good too. But it was boozy, man. It was like, it's 4 ounces of rum. You definitely want to sip that one. I think I split it with banana socks. It was just like pretty big drink. So. Oh. All right, as I said, I'm here for a couple more minutes. I think I'm pretty full. It was a big meal. I'm going to have a little bit of leftovers. The nice thing about panko is it stays crispy when you reheat it the next day. And we can talk a little bit. Okay, so I want to talk about 2 things. I am probably going to make the switch to YouTube for next week, if I can figure out how to do it. I just feel it is a better platform for the people that I stream to. And what dish should we do next week? So there's only a few people here tonight, so this is your chance to like get in and get your personal request. I'm open to suggestions. Do we have the... let's check the board. Well, there is Parm cheese on mine. It's in the coating. I mixed Parm with the breadcrumbs to keep it crispy. Chow mein, really? Okay, I can do chow mein. Hang on. Let me see what's on the list here. Okay, so this is the idea board here. I'm taking Irish stew off the list because there's just no way I can do stew on stream. Same with shepherd's pie. Does that say galette? Gelato? What the hell is that? What's a galette? Anyway. Po' boy sandwich you can do. Oh, the General Tso chicken. People have been asking for that. It's like an open pie. Okay, I have to confess, I don't know what a galette is. It sounds like I should know. Okay, I'm going to look, but Frisian isn't here. It doesn't got to say this week. But I will do a galette for her if she requested it. We could do General Tso chicken. What do you guys think about that? That's another really fun weeknight one, and there's a few tips and tricks. And it's also a really good technique dish to learn, because once you learn that, it applies to all kinds of other dishes. And I got to tell you guys, I am a sucker for Chinese American cooking. General Tso chicken, Peking duck, sweet and sour chicken, lemon chicken, garlic beef, like all of the traditional Chinese American dishes. And I love Szechuan cooking, don't get me wrong. Egg rolls, egg drop soup, all those things are great. So I think next week I am going to focus on Chinese American cooking. Kind of my goal. And I'm going to start with General Tso chicken. And if I think of something else, I will do that too. I do want to make the lemon chicken because that's a favorite around here. So maybe we'll do that as well. Okay, that's the plan for next week, guys. We're doing General Tso chicken. It's a great, really fun dish to make. It's really easy to make. All Chinese American dishes cook up in like 5 minutes or less once you get your prep done. And I think General Tso chicken is really cool because you kind of like double fry it like you do with French fries. So, okay, guys, we got next week planned out. I have my glass of wine, and I got some cleanup to do. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to say goodnight. Again, thanks for watching. Love doing this for you guys, and I will see you next week.